Forsyth County 911.
Hi, yes. I need an ambulance and a police to my home.
What's the address? What is your name?
My name is John Myers, Jeanne. Yes.
Okay, what's going on?
We had people over last night. We were drinking. Most of us went to bed. One of them stayed on the balcony. She was drinking, and we just went outside, and she's laying face down in the backyard. It looks like I'm guessing maybe she fell off the balcony, but she's stiff.
Okay, is she breathing?
I don't know if she's face down.
Okay, how old is she?
At 41. Here, hold on.
Hey, this is Jose Barrera.
Hey, have y'all checked to see if she's breathing?
She went to a sleepover, and never came home. Her body was found in the backyard, face down in the grass, and nobody heard it. Before the headlines, before the silence, before the questions that still have no answers, there was Tamla Horsford. Before the headlines, before the silence, before the questions that still have no answers, there was Tamla Horsford. A proud black woman. A devoted wife. A mother to 5 beautiful boys who called her their superhero. Tamla was the kind of woman who remembered birthdays without reminders, who cooked enough to feed everyone on the block, who showed up even when no one asked her to. Her laugh. Loud. Infectious. Impossible to forget. Her spirit. Fierce, but soft. Protective. Loyal. She loved football, big family gatherings, and loud music that made you dance whether you wanted to or not. Born in the Caribbean, she carried an island warmth with her everywhere she went. People loved her. People trusted her. Her presence filled a room. And her absence now lingers like smoke. In the fall of 2018, Tamla was 40 years old and living in Forsyth County, Georgia, raising her boys and planning her next steps. On November 3rd, she accepted an invitation to what sounded like a fun, harmless night out, a women-only, adult sleepover, hosted by a friend of a friend in Cumming, Georgia. The plan was simple: watch the football game, drink a little, eat, laugh, play games, and crash on the couch. The group was mostly white women. Many of them mothers from the same school and social circle. The host, Jean Myers, worked for the local court system. Tamla, the only black woman there, didn't know all the guests, but she didn't expect that to matter. She was friendly. Outgoing. Warm. She brought a bottle of tequila, wore a white onesie with ears like a snow leopard, and arrived with her usual energy and grace. That night, she texted her husband to say goodnight. She sent a photo to her family, smiling in her costume. She told her kids she loved them. It was supposed to be a normal night. It was supposed to be safe. But by the time the sun came up, Tamla Horsford was dead, her body discovered face down in the backyard lawn. And almost immediately, nothing about the story made sense. It was a cool Saturday evening, November 3rd, 2018. The kind of night that feels safe. Familiar. Tamla Horsford pulled into the driveway of a 2-story suburban home in Cumming, Georgia. She parked her car, grabbed a bottle of tequila, and stepped out wearing a white, fuzzy onesie covered in paw prints. It was playful, light-hearted, just like Tamla. She'd been invited to what was described as a grown women's slumber party. A chance to unwind. To laugh. To drink. To be human for a night, without the responsibilities of motherhood tugging at every second. Inside the house were 10 guests in total, 9 women and 1 man, the boyfriend of the host. Most were friends or acquaintances. Mothers from local schools, co-workers, or neighbors. Tamla didn't know everyone, but she wasn't the type to let that stop her. Her energy was magnetic. People liked her instantly. The evening began with drinks and conversation. A college football game played on the TV downstairs. People floated between rooms. Some played Cards Against Humanity. Others poured cocktails, shared stories, and snapped selfies. Someone rolled a joint, and Tamla joined them briefly outside. She smoked. She laughed. She FaceTimed her husband around 10:30 p.m., checking in, smiling, joking. She seemed relaxed. Comfortable. Over the next few hours, the party started to wind down. One woman left to take care of her child. Another said she had to be up early for work. Little by little, the group thinned. By around 1:30 a.m., most of the guests had either gone home or gone to bed. But Tamla, true to her nature, stayed up. One woman recalled seeing her in the kitchen, heating a bowl of gumbo, chatting softly. Then she stepped outside to smoke one last cigarette. The home security system recorded the back door opening around 1:49 a.m., then again at 1:57. That's the last verifiable moment we have of Tamla Horsford alive. After that, silence. The kind that doesn't make sense. The kind that feels off, even before you know why. The rest of the house was quiet. Some guests were sleeping upstairs. Others were tucked away in the basement. The host had gone to bed. The boyfriend, too. But no one, not a single person in that house, would see Tamla again that night. And no one would notice she was missing, until it was far too late. At 7:30 a.m. on November 4th, the homeowner's aunt went to check on her niece's sleepover guests. What she saw in the backyard would forever change a family's life. There, on the dew-covered grass, lay Tamla Horsford, face down, motionless, 14 feet from the wooden deck. No one heard a scream. No one heard her fall. It was almost as if the world stayed quiet. Right before everything came crashing down. Nearly 2 hours passed before the 911 call finally came in. At 8:59 a.m., the boyfriend of the host reported her unresponsive body, mentioning a small cut on her wrist, maybe self-inflicted. When pressed, he added that someone said she might have been pushed. Officers arrived at 9:07 a.m., surveyed the backyard, and within minutes, labeled it an accidental fall. They said alcohol was involved. They said she stumbled off the railing. But as we'll see, nothing about that scene fits a simple fall. If you believe the official story, then here's what they say happened. A mother of 5, slightly tipsy after a fun night, stepped outside to smoke a cigarette, leaned too far over the wooden deck railing, and fell 14 feet to her death. Simple. Neat. Done. But the reality waiting on that cold grass didn't match the words scribbled into the police report. When the medical examiner looked closer, they found injuries that screamed of something more violent, more human, than a stumble. Tamla Horsford's wrist wasn't just broken, it was shattered, bent backward at an unnatural angle, dislocated so badly that bone pressed against skin. Her neck vertebrae were fractured. There was deep blunt force trauma to her head, bruising on her arms and legs, cuts across her face, wounds that looked like defensive injuries. And inside her chest, a laceration to her heart. All this, from falling 14 feet onto soft grass. What's even stranger, the backyard beneath her was clean. No blood pooled where her face met the ground. No smears, no trail, as if the grass itself swallowed every sign of pain. Then there's her phone. Gone. The only object that could have held timestamps, messages, or evidence of her last moments, conveniently vanished. And the outdoor security camera? It wasn't working that night. One night out of the entire year. The night Tamla died. When questioned, those at the party fumbled through excuses. One said Tamla must have been clumsy. Another claimed she was too drunk. But according to her toxicology report, she had alcohol in her system, sure, but nothing outlandish for a grown woman at a party. Despite these cracks in the story, the sheriff's office quickly drew a diagram, a stick figure here, a red arrow there. They concluded she leaned over the railing, lost balance, and fell. An accident. No charges. No suspects. No thorough reinvestigation. But behind the paper trail, the whispers grew. How does a healthy woman just drop off a deck without a sound? How does her phone vanish into thin air? Who turned the camera off, and why did they all agree so quickly on what they remembered? One truth lingered, heavy and cold. Tamla Horsford did not die the way they said she did. And some people in that house knew exactly what happened, and exactly how to keep it buried. At the heart of this story were the people present that night, each with ties to authority and privilege. The host, Jean Myers, worked in Forsyth County's court system. She was well connected, respected, and very familiar with how local law enforcement operated. But it was Jose Barrera, the only man at the party, whose role would become the most controversial. He served as a pretrial services officer for the county, meaning he had access to legal databases and confidential court files. Just 2 months after Tamla's death, Barrera was fired. Not for any crime, but for illegally accessing the death investigation report, allegedly doing so because his then-girlfriend, Jean, was among the suspects. That act alone would cast a shadow over the entire inquiry, but it was only the beginning. Despite their close ties to law enforcement, none of the adults at the party were interviewed or officially questioned for hours. No formal statements were taken that night. Mere casual conversations over coffee in the kitchen. No pressure. No forensic questioning. More than 12 people were in that home, many connected to the court or the sheriff's office. And yet, they all left with their stories intact. Meanwhile, Barrera was quietly dismissed from his job. His dismissal wasn't about evidence tampering, it was about access. But in a tight-knit county like Forsyth, that access is half the battle of influence. And when witnesses withhold details until weeks later, when lawsuits and social media calls for #JusticeForTamla began, skepticism grew. Bridges to law enforcement. Protected narratives. A community that refused to ask the hard questions, until the world made them. By sunrise, sheriff's deputies had already set the tone. Tamla Horsford's death was a terrible accident. A tragic misstep on a dark deck, after a night of drinking with so-called friends. Within days, that was the headline, no foul play suspected. Case all but closed. But behind that tidy conclusion lay an investigation riddled with gaps, oversights, and unanswered questions that would haunt her family for years. To begin with, there was no rape kit. No full-body forensic examination to rule out assault. Her injuries, some consistent with blunt trauma, others unusual for a simple fall, were brushed aside as the natural consequence of a drunken accident. No intimate swabs, no fingernail scrapings, no thorough DNA collection, just a hurried conclusion that matched the word of those still inside the warm house. The toxicology test that might have explained her final hours was delayed for weeks, leaving a window wide open for speculation to bloom unchecked. When it finally arrived, her blood alcohol level was high, almost 3 times the legal driving limit, but even that was disputed by those who saw her just minutes before she vanished, cheerful, balanced, not staggering drunk. Guests told conflicting stories. Some claimed Tamla stepped out for a smoke alone at 2 in the morning. Others swore they heard her laughing just before dawn. A few said they thought she was in bed. No one could say for certain when she disappeared into the darkness. And yet, the sheriff's office didn't press for clarity. They didn't cordon off the deck, didn't sweep the yard for dropped jewelry, fabric fibers, or skin cells that might have told a different story. When family and friends asked for the autopsy photos, they were met with sealed envelopes and unanswered calls. The investigation, they realized, wasn't so much a search for the truth as it was a quiet push to return life in that neighborhood back to normal, fast. And so rumors swirled in place of facts. Was it a fight? A push? A fatal fall no one witnessed, or no one would admit to witnessing. A mother of 5 was buried. An accident report was filed. And in the basement evidence locker of the sheriff's department, the answers that might have cleared every doubt were never even collected. For Tamla's loved ones, this wasn't just a failure of law enforcement, it felt like a betrayal of her dignity. And once word spread beyond the fences of Forsyth County, the world would not let this file stay closed forever. For Tamla's family, the moment of loss unfolded in public, but the fight for truth began quietly behind closed doors. Almost immediately, questions swirled. Why was Tamla left face down for nearly 2 hours? Why were no rape kits collected, no photographs released? Her sister, Summer St. Jure Jones, stepped into the spotlight, not as an investigator, but as a mother and advocate demanding answers. "Never ever have I seen my sister sloppy drunk," she said, insisting that Tamla was coherent and joyful that night. "None of this makes sense." As family and friends pieced together conflicting timelines and suspect behaviors, a grassroots movement began to form. Justice for Tamla was more than just a hashtag, it was a call to arms. Within weeks, the movement spread from Cummings Town Square to social media feed, protests echoing, "Say her name," alongside the names of mothers killed under questionable circumstances. A Change.org petition, signed by over 500,000 people, demanded a fresh look. Celebrities like T.I. and 50 Cent amplified the cause, posting the petition and voicing outrage, calling for the GBI to reopen the case. Under this swelling national attention, Forsyth County's sheriff felt the pressure. In June 2020, he formally asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to step in, admitting that transparency had been lacking. But for the Horsfords, this was still only the beginning. Their fight wasn't just for answers, it was for accountability. Justice for Tamla wasn't just a slogan. It was their demand. As the hashtags multiplied and the protests spilled from sidewalks into headlines, the weight of public pressure finally cracked the silence at the highest level. By June 2020, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and soon, the FBI, agreed to review Tamla Horsford's death. For Tamla's family and countless strangers demanding accountability, this moment felt like hope reborn. The world would finally see what the local deputies hadn't, or wouldn't. Investigators re-examined witness statements. They looked at the autopsy once more, the broken wrist, the lacerations, the blood alcohol content that some still swore did not match her behavior that night. They reviewed the photos that had long been sealed away from the family. They revisited the deck where she supposedly fell, replayed the last text messages she sent, the final selfies she snapped at that party, laughing, alive. For weeks, the house in Cumming, Georgia, became a symbol of a question the system couldn't quite bury. How does a beloved mother end up dead at a party full of friends, and no one sees a thing? But just as quickly as hope surged, it flickered out. In July 2021, the GBI concluded their second look. The FBI closed their file too. No new charges. No new arrests. No fresh evidence strong enough to rewrite the official version, accidental fall. A mother of 5, still gone. A backyard deck, still silent. A case file, once again shut tight with a stamp of finality. To the public, the news fell like a stone in a pond, ripples of anger, then a stillness that felt like defeat. But for the people who'd carried Tamla's name on protest signs and social feeds, one truth would not be buried: this was not justice. And while the FBI walked away, her family, her friends, and millions of strangers still refused to look the other way. Because every closed case leaves a door half open for secrets to slip through the cracks. When the official story didn't fit the pieces, the whispers grew teeth. According to the sheriff's department, Tamla Horsford drank too much, smoked a little weed, stepped out onto a deck in the freezing dark, and slipped, falling 15 feet to her death. But ask the people who've studied every conflicting timeline, every statement, every piece of missing evidence, and you'll hear a darker version. They believe Tamla didn't just fall, she may have been pushed. Some say an argument broke out inside that house after most guests were asleep. Tamla, outspoken and joyful, didn't back down when challenged. Maybe she confronted someone about a slight, a secret, a cruel comment. Maybe voices rose, fists clenched, and one push was all it took. Or maybe it was worse, maybe she was unconscious before she ever hit the ground. The injuries, a broken wrist, deep cuts on her face, a heart heavy with alcohol that her family insists she couldn't have consumed in such quantity, these details don't sit right with seasoned pathologists. And the deck railing? Tall enough to stop a careless stumble, unless you were lifted, balanced on it, or had no fight left in you at all. Some theorize the scene was staged. That Tamla's body was placed to look like a simple fall, a neat explanation for a messy truth. When the 911 call played back in court filings and media snippets, conspiracy only grew. Listen closely, muffled voices. Calm where there should be panic. And a tone so flat it chills the spine. These theories have never been proven, but for Tamla's family, they explain what the official reports never could. How does a mother of 5, known for her balance and strength, slip 15 feet to her death, while her so-called friends sleep inside and forget what they saw? What really happened on that deck that cold Georgia night? In the end, the truth remains suspended somewhere between those wooden railings and the grass below, an echo only the guilty hear when they close their eyes to sleep. Asterisk. Tamla Horsford stepped into that house full of laughter and light, and by dawn, she was gone. The file says accident. Her family says lies. And tonight, you've heard both sides. But only you can decide what you believe. So tell me, was Tamla's death a tragic slip, or a secret someone's been paid to keep buried? Drop your theory in the comments. I read every single one. And if you believe in real stories, the ones that don't always make the headlines, then hit that subscribe button right now. Here, we don't look away. We ask the questions they wish we'd forget. Next week, I'm uncovering the chilling case of Kendrick Johnson, the teenager found rolled up in a gym mat, and the family that never stopped fighting for the truth. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who says justice always works the way it should. Stay curious. Stay awake. And remember, secrets don't stay buried forever. Asterisk.